Hello YouTube, I had some time to spare, so I thought I'd make a video about something which I picked up fairly recently, and that is this adorable little item here. And this is what this video is going to be about. So I picked this up around the time of the new year, and it is a solid silver Spanish dollar. This particular Spanish dollar is from 1802, as you can see, minted during the reign of King Charles IV of Spain. And I'm going to tell you a bit about it. So, this coin is called a Spanish dollar, also called an 8 reals coin. In Spanish, it is also called a real de ocho, or the peso de ocho. In English, that translates as the piece of 8, possibly the most famous coin in the world. The piece of 8 was first minted in Spain and later in the Spanish colonies in the New World in the 1490s. 1490s, early 1500s, all the way up till the 1860s. And the Spanish dollar, the 8 reals coin, was the first really international currency. That is one of the reasons why this coin is so famous, because it was used almost literally all over the world. These coins were traded in North and South America, they were traded in Europe, they were traded in Britain, they were traded in the Caribbean, they were used as currency in China, they were used as currency throughout Southeast Asia. They were even used in Canada and Australia. So it's a very, very well-traveled coin. And that's one of the reasons why it's so famous. To most people these days, its fame comes from the association that this coin has with the golden age of piracy. The golden age of piracy was a real thing. It did happen. It lasted from about 1600 to 1800, give or take 1 or 2 decades either side. And during the golden age of piracy, Dutch, French, and English pirates, mostly, would attack Spanish treasure galleons, carrying tons of these coins, to try and steal them for themselves or for their governments and their countries. And what used to happen was the Spanish had this system where, 2 or 3 times a year, they would send galleons loaded with important materials, goods, tools, etc. from Spain, and they would send these galleons, these fleets of galleons, to the Caribbean, and there they would offload all this stuff to their colonies in the Caribbean, in the Spanish Main, as it was then called, and in return the ships would be loaded up with thousands, millions of gold and silver coins like this, and sent back. When the Spanish treasure ships sailed from the New World back to Europe, with their holds loaded with treasure like this, the English, French, and Dutch would all chase after them. And there are many accounts in history of Spanish treasure fleets either being lost to battle or to hurricanes, which are very common in the Caribbean, and of tons of gold and silver ending up on the ocean floor, either sunk in combat or sunk through storms. And even today, there are treasure hunters out there who are diving and searching and bringing up tons of coins just like this. So I'm going to give you a little tour of the coin now, and then I'll go back to some of the history. So what we have here is Carlos IV, or Charles IV, King of Spain. And on the other side we have De Gracia, which is by the grace of God. And then the date of minting at the bottom, which is 1802. This incredibly ugly guy is King Charles IV. As you can see, he's not much of a looker. So let's turn the coin around. Here, this is much more interesting. Here we have Hispan et Ind Rex. So that is Hispania, Spain, et and Ind, Indies. That would be the West Indies. Rex is king, so king of Spain and the Indies. Then here we have LME for Lima, Peru, which is where this was minted. Then next to that we have 8R, which is 8 reals. The real was the Spanish unit of currency at the time, established in the 1490s. Then here we have IJ, which is the initials of the assayer. Who that is, we may never know. So at the top we have the crown for the Spanish monarchy. Below that we have the coat of arms. So this is the castles of Castile, the royal lion rampant. In the middle are the 3 fleurs-de-lis. Then either side we have the 2 pillars, the Pillars of Hercules, which was the name given to the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea. Today we call it the Strait of Gibraltar. And last but not least, we have the 2 scrolls wrapped around the Pillars of Hercules. And the 2 pillars and the scrolls are what made up the modern dollar sign of the S with the 2 lines through it. That's where that comes from these 2 pillars and the scrolls. So like I said, the Spanish dollar was used all around the world, and it was worth a lot of money, because, like I said, this is an 8 reals coin, as you can see right there, 8R. They also came in denominations of 4 reals, 2 reals, 1 real, and half a real. So, as you can see, this coin was worth quite a bit. And as a result, a lot of people used it. You can find examples of Spanish dollars which have been cut up, chopped in half, snapped in half, broken. You can find them with stamps, chop marks, hammered into them all over it. You know, all over the face of King Charles, all over his robes, hammered all over the coat of arms. That was done by traders who wanted to test the purity of the gold, purity of the silver. Sorry, this is a silver coin. Purity of the silver, and then once they tested the silver, they would stamp it to ensure, to certify that it was solid silver. And so these coins come in many variations. This is just one variation with the coat of arms and the pillars and the king's head. I think there were at least another 2 or 3 variations of this coin that you can find. This is the last variation that was made in the 1800s before the coin was finally rendered obsolete. The coin was legal tender in a number of countries. It was legal tender in Australia, in the 1810s to the early 1820s. It was legal tender in the United States until 1857, and it was legal tender in Spain until 1864, I believe it was, when the real was finally put to bed after something like 350 odd years. So it's a very long-lived coin. Anyway, I've written a short article about this. If you want to look at it, then there will be a link to it in the description below this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, then leave a comment or leave a like. And thank you very much for watching.